Hi everyone, let's talk about Summer Tiamat, a servant that learns a bit too much about school romance after getting summoned and now deals damage by inflicting emotional damage on others cause the worst she can say is no, right? Her skill 1 increased party quick and arts performance by 20% free turns, that increased party's buff removal resistant 1 time free turns, and overcharged party MP by 2 stages 1 time free turns. Skill 2 increased her own MP by 50%, that increased party MP except herself by 30%, and increased party's attack by 20% all for free turns, and heals party HP by 2000. Skill 3 gives each ally a 8 crit star gain per turn buff, and a party 50% critical damage increase and a 10% MP gain per turn buff, all for free turns. Her Noble Phantasm is a quick support that gives a 1 turn party invincibility, then a 50% party debuff resistant increase for free turns, a party quick and arts performance increase by 30% for free turns, and a 50% party critical damage increase for free turns. Summer Tiamat is slightly different from the typical support. First of all her buffs are party based, meaning that it will be easier to pair her up onto multi-DPS core teams, even though her skill's attack buff stat isn't as high when compared to Castoria or Merlin. She can make it up by using her Noble Phantasm to increase the buffs. The combination of buff removal resistant on skill 1, skill 2's party heal, and MP's debuff resistant and invincibility makes her a very great support to keep the party alive. She is one of those support servants you may want to MP loop her, since her free turns buff on her Noble Phantasm is not a small amount at all, and when accumulated, she can give a 90% quick and arts performance buff and 150% critical power buff using her Noble Phantasm on MP1 alone, making her a very good crit support after Ruler's Guardian. If Summer Tiamat can use her Noble Phantasm at least once during the fight, and the DPS servant can benefit from overcharging her Noble Phantasm. If there is any issue, it would be she requires to activate her Noble Phantasm in order to give the party invisibility and debuff resistance, and because there is no debuff removal by any means on her, you have to think slightly ahead if your enemies always apply debuff onto your team. As for the support recommendation, there's quite a bit of option depending on what you're trying to achieve. On the most often occasion though, you can just choose to further support your DPS critical power using servants like Ruler's Guardian or Summer Passion Lip. Moreover, the high party survivability makes her fitting in most teams in challenge quests or boss battle later on. CE wise is the same, she can have a lot of options like Demonic Bodhisattva to overcharge her MP and have higher crit buff stats on Noble Phantasm activation, or you can make her MP loop more often using Azure Magical Girl to increase the MP rate of her. Overall, Summer Tiamat is a valuable servant in challenge quests where there is a lot of gimmicks. The high buff stats on skills and MP combined and high party survivability makes her a solid option in boss battle, grand duel battles, or in challenge quests. MP1 is fine on her, but because her buff stats on her Noble Phantasm will be affected based on her MP level, I do recommend a MP2 if you can. Also, who could say no to Tiamat that dresses in summer uniform, watching her experience school romance for the first time that she could never experience in Singularity 7. That's it for now. Next video will be our #1 Ilia obsessive servant in Chaldea, Summer Miyu. So support me by any means and please subscribe if you find this video helpful, or else Summer Tiamat will reject you even in your dreams and in gacha pulls. Anyways, I'm gone now.